What's going on, guys? It's your boy Aaron, aka Turtle the Ascended, and I've got my technician boys here for episode number 2. Technical topic, man. Big ups. Shout outs to all those that gave a like on the first one. I do appreciate it. I'm sorry this actually took so long to come out with episode 2, but you know, life is life, so.
Ain't it?
Oh, yeah. So, real quick, a few reintroductions to run around the room, my guys. Go ahead, tell them who you are again.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Buster Brown, aka Bustin' in Your Home, aka Bustin' in Your Bitch, cause we out here, okay? Now let me tell you something. When we got the rest of these introductions, I need y'all to be quiet on the mic because we respect us and we get it. You heard me? Shout outs to shout outs.
Shit, it's your boy Raha, aka no, aka it's shit. Fuck it, I do what I want. That's about it for me.
What's going on, guys? This is Shadow Falls. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. Shadow Falls, just like the character Shadow, Fallz. Find me on Twitter.
Man, that's how you were doing a whole. You got your own YouTube channel, huh?
I do have my own YouTube channel. You can find me at Shadow Falls _YT.
Hey, you can find me up in the stars because the sky's the limit.
Boy, y'all ignorant.
Oh man,
That's a goddamn college quote. Future so bright, I need shades, head ass.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Man, no. All right, let's get this popping, bro. Let's
what
go
we
ahead
talking
and start
about
with
today, man?
We starting with the our profile pics that I so graciously asked to change. You know.
So, yeah, this man Turtle, the Ascended, told us to change our profile pics to our favorite Avatar: The Last Airbender character. What Avatar character? This is what we picked.
I obviously don't know how to follow the rules because everyone picked from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I was like, I'm gonna just pick from Avatar.
I mean, the whole talk is about Avatar. It's not specifically Last Airbender.
Yeah.
So, I was just surprised that you picked Korra.
I think I'm gonna go last on this one.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and go first since I'm the different one out of the bunch. So yeah, the whole reason I picked Korra is because
she fine.
I mean, that's facts. That's facts. Hold on.
Over.
That's facts. But that's not the only reason. I didn't pick her just because, you know, she's fine. She is. Tragic. But I just like that Avatar is one of the first shows I remember having like a very strong female lead that was actually of color in like an actual cartoon that I enjoyed. So, wow. And I really liked what her, like, she wasn't your typical main protagonist. Especially at the beginning. Like, I actually hated Korra at the beginning. I was talking to Turtle about this, a week ago or something like that. But I actually hated Korra at the beginning, and then as the show went on, and then like we got to that last season, I was like, you know what, Korra's all right, man. Korra's all right.
Wow, that's facts, brother.
Yeah,
honestly, she isn't really that likable of a character in the beginning. She's cocky. She's got a horrible attitude. She's like, as the Avatar, she felt like she needed to be this all powerful, like if she don't fix it, then everything's wrong type deal. Like her character wasn't really that likable, and the fact that she grows from, it's almost like the opposite of Aang. You know, like when Aang came in, like he was real timid and he didn't really want to be the Avatar. You know, he kind of grew into this leader role, but Korra knew she was about to be in a leader role. Like the moment she found out she was the Avatar, but she was like, you know, unlike Aang, you know, she was already kind of at least adept in multiple bendings, unlike Aang, who just only knew the one in the beginning. So I like that. I fucks with that.
You're not wrong.
Raha, tell us why you F with Ty Lee.
For the most part, I F with Ty Lee just because when I first seen her, she just seemed really cool. Her and May were the, I guess you could say, first two cold characters I saw that wasn't bending. It was just folding people that was bending. Ty Lee, I think, was the first person to start chi nullification. I guess what it's called. What is it called?
Chi blocking.
I think it's
Chi blocking. I
Yeah.
think she was the first one to start that, and it that kind of starts stemming to the next season, which people didn't know that was a thing until yeah. So that was really cool. I mean, I just as a character, I wish she would have got some more shine. I mean, but it's not about her, so I mean, I can't help that. But she was really cool just for the little bit of time she got. She was real carefree. But when time
she bad.
you're not wrong. When it was time to fight, she was hey, I got them hands for you.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah,
She was always as strong as they needed her to be.
Yup.
Now, before we move on to the other two characters, Minor Tanks, let's go back one, because these two ninjas were going to have the same character as their daggum profile pics here.
Which one
so
was it?
Raha and Young Shadow, tell us about Prince Zuko.
Man,
Y'all honestly should have picked Zuko, bro.
I mean, we can still talk about him.
Yeah, Raha, go ahead, go first.
Man, for the most part, man, what did I start? Man, Zuko came in that mug cocky, and I was like, I like it. He was in that mug just, he really was spoiled at the beginning, but throughout the time, man, he probably, well, no, ain't no probably, he had the most character development to me, period.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
man,
That's
just
true.
the stuff that he had to go through, like,
He had
don't get me.
He had a better character arc than the main character.
Man,
Very true. Facts.
I'm talking about like Aang. He did go through some stuff, but man, Zuko, his father didn't care about him.
Brother.
They was trying to kill him. He had to. He was rich, and he had to start just grinding. He wasn't even a cold bender when he was younger. Had to. Oh man, that young man. I'm telling you. That's the real star of the show. That's the real star of the show right there. Oh man. But yeah, it's just so much to like about him, just as a character, man.
Yeah, you could say as a firebender, he was pretty lit.
Ha!
Kill yourself. Raha pretty much said, almost everything, man. Zuko, to me, when I was watching it back, I didn't realize how much that, man, Aang ain't really the main character. He's really not.
Yeah.
It's actually the story. This Aang just happened to be like what he just happened to be the Avatar, but the whole show is a Zuko story. They tell their stories so closely in tandem. I didn't even notice that until I rewatched it. That almost every bit of character development that Aang gets, Zuko gets 3 times. He gets it like in threefold, and things Zuko stuff, it just hits you back to back to back to back, like where this dude is getting mollywopped so hard he ain't got no choice but to grow up.
He had a more interesting story. Like
he's just a very interesting character. Like, I mean, yeah, you could be like, it's the typical, bad guy turns good or whatever. But it was like, I don't know, with Zuko, it was a lot different because I actually enjoyed it. He was probably, I mean, actually, that may not mean that far-fetched. He was probably the most relatable character in the show.
He wasn't your typical edgelord character.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, yeah,
you could say he's like the Sasuke of the show, but
Sasuke
was. But then you gotta think about, like, Sasuke at a lot of points in time was just unnecessarily edgy, but Zuko
was Zuko. Like, he was his own person. He wasn't edgy because they tried to make him edgy. Like, his story just put him off that way. Like, the way he was raised, he had no choice but to be edgy.
Changed.
Yeah, he became clean as heck.
That's why I think his story is so relatable, is the fact that you see him go from having everything to nothing and then being on the hero side, changing the world. Like, we literally watch him literally have everything at his disposal, from armies to all the firepower he needs, to like anything he needs at his disposal, he can get it, to like on the run, nothing, having to hide out in places and go to Bossing Say, or like they had to like live off like straight scraps. Like him and Iroh, boy Iroh, him, like
you'd already
we literally watch him go from something to nothing, then back to something. I think that's what made it so cool.
I mean, while you there, you might as well go ahead and hit that.
Oh no, I'm going last.
Well, I guess I'll move to my homie Toph. Top 2 Earthbenders in the series. Like just ice. I don't know. I really like Toph just because how smooth she was with everything. Like whoever she fought, for the most part, she always made it look easy. Like it always looked like whoever she went up against was behind, like so far behind. Like nobody. She's probably the character with the least amount of L's in the show. Like the only person I would say that has less L's than her would actually no, she probably has the least amount of L's. But she was cold. I see a bit of myself in her, like some of my mannerisms and whatnot. I liked the way she earthbended. I liked so like I used to do some written roleplay type stuff, and I would look at people's like powers and stuff, and they'd be super generic with their power. Like if they control fire, they just throw some fire, shoot some fireballs or fire breath or some basic stuff, right? But like Toph's abilities to me represent how deep a basic power should really be going. Like Toph went from just throwing rocks to I can sense things with my earthbending, I can see with this, to I can go so far as to evolve into metal bending with this and sand bending, just continuously pushing and taking the bending further into its subdivisions. And I like the fact that her extensions of earthbending was more than just throwing rocks, because like at season 1, earthbending didn't seem that cool. Like it really didn't. It seemed like the most trash of the 3. But then you saw Toph, and then she flipped how you thought about earthbending.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chick was making earth walls slide up and down in the ground, earth domino effect pillars, rock armor, bro. Rock armor.
Like the sheer ingenuity.
The fact that she could just like freaking punch the ground and automatically sense everything underground. Like
another cool concept about her was she was blind. Like that also blew my mind too. Like just that aspect alone, like she was using that, and then on top of that, her being an earthbender too, she was using, like, it kind of made sense because she was blind, and she was using the earth to sense vibrations through the ground so she can see a person, which was really cool that they gave her that aspect instead of her just being able to see, because then it would have been the same.
Bro, you know one of the realest things I've ever watched Toph do? First off, when it already got cemented in my mind that Toph was the realest earthbender I have ever seen. When this chick broke out of a metal freaking prison, hopped off sunk into the ground and made a rock to run across the planet in.
Oh man,
she hopped out and
fell
into the ground,
the earth,
and then just started running, dog.
I was like, that's not a little girl.
She said, "I am the greatest earthbender in the world, and don't you two dunderheads ever forget it."
And then she straight Usain bolted out that mud, like that. And that, if you ever had a time, remember when they were invading the Fire Nation and they had the whole plan to attack them when their firebending's gone. And this chick was like, and they came across that metal door, and then Sokka was like, "Oh, metal door." And Toph said, "Not a problem." She freaking smooth UFC triple elbowed the freaking metal,
and then finger through them holes.
Opened that thing up like a boink, like a good shower curtain.
I'm so glad we added you to the group.
Face ass.
This chick, bop bop bop, elbows.
Man.
Yeah, gave it elbows, and then was so cold that she literally pushed her hand through and pulled it open. I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I saw.
Okay. You
may be cold. All right.
Some people can jump high.
I can punch metal shit.
Like what?
Alright, Tank. Let it rip.
Me. Now let me get serious here for a second. I don't have much of a role model in my life. I got maybe 2 role models. One of them's my dad. The other one is Stan Lee. But another role model in my life is Iroh. My favorite Avatar character is Iroh. Even in Korra, Iroh. Now, Iroh is what I like to call one of the grandfathers of everybody type character. He was always giving advice, had some words of wisdom, and in a time of war, this man chose to stop the senseless violence. When he was at the peak of destruction, where he could have taken over anything he chose to sip some freaking tea. In action, he said, "Listen, I will only fight in self-defense to protect myself." And even then, he didn't even bend. Remember when he got caught? He didn't bend when he got caught by the earthbenders. He was breaking rocks. Like, he didn't even fire bend. Like, this person found peace in chaos.
Facts.
When he lost his son in the Battle of Ba Sing Se, where he was supposed to take over Ba Sing Se, and he failed, and his son died, he later then tried to find a son in Zuko. And he always preached to Zuko about how, listen, this war is ridiculous. Don't worry about the Avatar. He was always trying to guide Zuko to, the path he was eventually came onto at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But this man is something of a legend. I can't tell you how many times I personally watched people make decisions based off anger, frustration, and just straight greed, yo. Like the stuff that we got going on in the world, like, it's on fire. The world is on fire. Just like in that show, the world was literally on fire. Fire Nation was taking over everything. And when it came down to it, Iroh said, I've got these amazing titles. I've got the power to take over anything I want. He decided to take a hard back seat and just chill, like, and try to teach people that fighting ain't always the answer, yo. maybe just sitting down, having a nice conversation can fix a lot. And I don't know. For me personally, I feel like there's a lot more people in the world that need to understand that type of position of, maybe let's try to put ourselves in their shoes. Maybe let's not fight every time somebody looks at us wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe destruction should not be countered or retaliated with destruction. Chaos only breeds chaos. So it's like to watch him have all the power to take whatever he wanted, and the fact that him spending time with Zuko was all he ever wanted. And the fact that he knew so much about the Avatar state, other bending forms. He knew about water bending. He knew about air bending. He knew about all the other. Like he knew about how to understand the Avatar state, and he wasn't even the Avatar.
Man.
My dude was the Avatar without being the Avatar. He was a better Avatar than the Avatars.
He taught Korra.
Man.
He showed Korra how to be a better person, and he wasn't even alive. Like, bruh. Like, how raw do you gotta be?
You know what they say, man. Wisdom transcends our own lives.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
He knew about. Imagine if he would have met Aang right when he came out of that ice, and when at the start of the show. Imagine if he'd have tagged along with Aang. I bet you wheels and horseshoes that Aang would have not only mastered the Avatar state in record time, but this man would have learned how to take bending away by book 2. like he'd have learned how to fire bend. He'd have learned how to understand how water bending works. He already picked up water bending kind of naturally, because water bending is close relative to air bending, and it doesn't take much for him to learn. It's just a push and a pull,
especially because it was the next element in the cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the best part about Iroh was that we always got to see him in contrast. He was always contrasting something. He had the whole reason Zuko was awesome was because Iroh was there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I can't really say that Iroh's awesome because Zuko was there, but their contrast built both their characters up.
Yeah.
And so having them being kind of on opposite sides, always clashing in ideals, of course, just really brought both of their characters up. I mean, Iroh was honestly part of the reason why Zuko's awesome. So, Iroh was cool. And then some of my favorite moments of bending in the show comes from Iroh being like, all right, let me tell you why they call me.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon of the West.
and then Iroh goes cold for a little bit, and then he's like, all right, I'm done. Show's up.
I was fire. Mad fire.
He literally, when he lost, he meant to lose.
Yeah.
When he allowed the Avatar and Qatar to escape from getting freaking jumped by Azula and Zuko, I'll hold them off. Go.
I'm telling you.
Fire, and I'm chilling.
As soon as they left, he's like, all right, I'm good.
All right, I'm chilling. Yeah, how cold to understand that Iroh could be this force. He could honestly be one of the worst and most dangerous people in the entire show. Almost worse than the Fire Lord.
He was technically stronger, wasn't he?
I say skills wise, he was stronger.
Yeah.
He was stronger. Maybe raw power, Ozai. I think I talked to Aaron about this. Raw power, we see like out of Ozai, we see the quickest freaking lightning blast we've ever seen come from a firebender. The man hit a double finger zap quick and it got redirected. But as far as technique and skill and versatility with the firebending, like Iroh has much more experience under his belt than Ozai. Because while Ozai was prepping himself to be the Fire Lord, Iroh was out hard working, gaining titles, Dragon of the West. If you fight Iroh, they say it's like actually fighting a dragon. I'm like these are like unmatched.
So
and the fact that he chose peace over violence is something I wish a lot more people would understand.
So do you think that's why their father chose? Well, besides him being his first son, you think that's why he respected him so much?
Who? What?
The grandfather or their father? Yeah.
I think it was literally just the fact that he was his firstborn.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I think one of them. I think there was their grandfather was supposed to kill one of them. I think chose not to. I don't remember that story.
That was when Zuko's mom got sent away.
That was Zuko's mom. Got it.
So what happened there was, Iroh. I had to think about it. Iroh's son had just died, and he was suffering. So Ozai got snippy and was like, renounce that dude, let me become the next Fire Lord. And then Azulon got mad and said, oh, you wanna talk down to him while he's in that state? Well, you gonna learn today. So Zuko, being the firstborn, was gonna get killed. But his mom left in exchange for Zuko's life. She got exiled, and that's what happens with that.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
You know that?
Yeah, and that's my character, man. Iroh.
He is fire.
Literally. Fire.
Yep, good old Iroh, right?
Right? Good old Iroh, man. Good old Iroh.
So Tate didn't watch it, but
that just tilted me because I know where we're going.
We about to go into real dark territory. And I want to preface this first and foremost. We're about to go into The Last Airbender, the movie.
No.
We got to.
No, we can't.
No, I got words. We covering this.
We got to.
I have words.
We have to. First of all, I'm going to preface this. If you liked Avatar: The Last Airbender as a series and you have any respect for that show, don't watch that goddamn movie. Please don't.
Don't do it.
Because you're going to get pissed or upset. And if anybody tells you they think that movie was good, ask them, did they watch the cartoon? If they say yes, you might need to uppercut them. Like hard. Like throw them in the garbage. Because that's where this movie belongs. Actually, this movie need to be burned.
Fire Nation should have burned this movie.
Facts. This is why the Fire Nation attacked.
Oh my gosh, this movie, man. So I literally watched it for this talk, right? I had never seen it before. All I just heard was things, just stuff. I heard it's awful. Don't watch it. I already knew that the firebenders couldn't actually bend fire the way they do in the cartoon, and so I was like, that's whack. But whatever. So I go into the movie, right? I'm going to try and break down my entire experience with the movie in the span of however long. And so I was watching the movie at first, and I'm like, these actors are whack, but all in all, I'm sorry, I just had to preface that, bro, Sokka is so bad.
Wait.
So bad.
Wait. You mean Sokka?
You're right.
Oh man.
You're right. You're right. Sokka. Excuse me. How could I mess that up? There's only the source material right there. But I digress. Thank you for your correction, Turtle. Sokka, actor, was garbage. Showed almost zero emotion. Made the freaking Bella's actress look like she deserved an Oscar. Like, I'm talking Bella from Twilight. I don't know if y'all seen it. I have.
Oh yeah.
But it
Shout
made
out to Twilight.
Shout out to Twilight. Yeah, made Bella's actress in Twilight look like she deserved an Oscar for emotional expression.
Oh man.
Sokka was garbage and ugly, and so was Katara. But that's something else, totally different. They can't help that. But so I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, you know what? The movie's starting off a little whack, but all in all, it's not terrible. It's not bad. It's like Is it the show? No, but it's not supposed to be. It's okay. So then the show continues going, and I'm like, yo, how did they make the coolest part of Avatar, which is bending? That's the coolest part. That's the part that we all love. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty much the main appeal of the show is bending. They made bending look so fucking bitch made and fucking awful. Like, it made it look so whack, and I'm like, how did you take the source material and literally butcher it so hard that it's almost unrecognizable? Like, and they messed up because they tried to hit so many key points in an hour. They tried to hit so many story arcs in an hour and a half. I'm like, dude, I was getting whiplash from how many times they were switching things up, dog. I'm like, oh, so we just moving? We're already over there. Okay, all right. Like, dude, it was.
Yeah.
I literally, like, and I was talking to Turtle like through my entire thing in the movie. So the first message goes out, it's not that bad. It's really not. And then it goes up, I'm like, you know, I'm not really feeling this movie. By the end, I was like, this is an hour and a half of my life I am never going to get back.
Exact message.
Exact message. This is an hour and a half of my life I am never going to get back. This movie is ass.
Like, bro, like, there, you could write a thesis statement on why this movie is trash. Like first off, like, after I watched it, I made myself stay and watch it because I wanted to make sure I saw everything. I wanted to give it every single possible chance of being good somewhere in the movie because I love Avatar that much. I want to sit through and make myself finish and see if there's any redeeming qualities to this movie at all whatsoever, and there were none. It was zero.
Oh man!
Like, everything was wrong, bad, and just shouldn't have been done. And what makes it even worse is that Shamalama Ding Dong over here straight left out the Kyoshi warriors. Like, he straight up skipped over all of the Kyoshi Island arc. I'm like, what the what? Huh? What the fuck? We don't even know who Suki is. I'm like, where's Suki at, bro? You ain't going to do. Oh.
She probably would have been Saki or something. So I mean, maybe it was good she didn't get into her name didn't get butchered.
Whew, shit, like, that shit was
good old
awful.
Ero.
I've never seen Katara act like more of a bitch than anything, bro. And I don't mean as in like just bossy and out of line. Like, she didn't do shit. She was scary the whole time. Like, these niggas over here should be boxing with their bender, and these niggas are walking around. Like one of the most major plot points to me of the Fire Nation taking over things is the fact that they don't need a source, which is why what is his name? Sozin wiped out the airbenders using the comet because they were the only other bender that did not need a source.
So every source but fire, they could lock away. They could strip you of your bending pretty much without actually having the like energy bend or anything like that. But so like
that sound toe up.
Yeah, because like with earthbenders, you just keep them away from Earth. With waterbenders, you air dry. You pretty much air dry the room, making sure there's no humidity at all whatsoever. You tie them up super tight so they can't use water against you when you give them water, because you don't want your prisoners to just up and die. At least not yet. But you lost one of your major advantages. Like, these ninjas in the movie had to throw rocks on fire so they could firebend. And I'm sitting there like, bro, that don't make no goddamn sense. How the hell are these niggas not smart enough to put the fire out? What?
Oh man!
So not only did you make the Fire Nation,
didn't even know firebending.
Like,
remember, they had to call the firebenders out.
Facts. It's like, first of all, not only did you make the Fire Nation look bad, but you made everybody else look like a jackass. Like, come on, dog. Like, this is not right. It's just bad. Like, and I watched a little 30-minute thing where M. Night Shyamalan was talking about him changing stuff. He was like, I changed some of the names to their Asian pronunciations. I'm like, how about you leave them the way they are, because not all of these characters are Asian.
Facts.
First off. Second of all, why are you changing names from the source material? You're not making them this. You're just making them pronounce the names wrong. And like it's a horrible movie. It really is. It's probably the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some pretty disappointing shit.
Worse than Dragon Ball Z?
Bro, the Dragon Ball Z live action was better.
Oh
well,
man,
we're talking about Evolution, right? Evolution was way better as a movie. As a movie, it was way better.
Dude. That's how you know that whole bad.
The Last Airbender isn't even good as a movie. It only has the only redeeming quality of it is that it shares the name. That's it.
Yeah.
Even as like its own personal movie, the pacing was awful. That's what I was talking about getting whiplash from, was the pacing. The pacing was god awful. The stuff didn't make sense. Like, you're telling me the Water Nation can't put out a freaking fire? For real?
Like, facts.
They got all this ice and water around, and they can't put out the fire so that it was just bad.
Like,
man,
yeah, it was pretty awful.
It sounded like to me that just the Avatar movie period, that version. Well, I don't think Avatar was supposed to be a movie anyway. If it's having that,
It's not.
And they got forced into it being a movie.
Too much fucking material to go over to be a fucking movie, but they fucking did it anyway. It's true.
At least not one movie anyway.
Yeah, like, cause I was talking to my cousin, cause I watched it and I talked about it with him, and I was like, there was too much to put in that movie, and he said, you know what? Then they shouldn't have made it a movie in the first place. It is completely right. You shouldn't have made it a movie. Like, why was it even necessary? Like, I feel like he was trying to ride the coattails of one of the greatest cartoons ever made, and he just fucked it up.
I just want to know who asked for it.
Like, apparently he did in his mind.
Who said that it needed to be a movie? Like, usually the reason we get movies to cover things is because it's something that's it was in another medium. Like, we get video game movies. We get movies for those because you only get to typically see them as video games, and so it's like now you get to. It's an experience you passively watch and another audience you can capture, or maybe it was only written, like books or mangas or something like that get movie adaptations. But this was already a cartoon. You were already watching this. Like, it's like if we take, and then it's not like you were making a separate story. You were going over the cartoon. If I wanted the cartoon, I would have just watched the freaking cartoon.
Facts.
Like,
okay.
And so it'd be like, oh, it was live action. You know what? Fuck it. It didn't need to be live action, and that movie's the reason why.
I hope the Netflix series is good. I have hope because the creators are actually on it. So
hopefully
that shows promise. It shows some promise.
But for the sake of my homie Tank, we gonna switch topics. All right. So now this is an interesting topic.
It's like everything about it.
Oh, go for it.
Like why?
Go ahead. Go off.
Like what for? Like everything about the movie wasn't even. Nothing's decent. Nothing's average. Everything's garbage. The character's garbage. The look of it garbage. The only person that looked decent was Zuko, and he still looked like he worked at Abercrombie and Fitch. Why the heck was freaking Appa a demon? Appa and Momo were freaking demons. Why did Appa have freaking long fingers and ankles? Like what is this? The design of it is ugly. The places were ugly. The bare essence of what waterbending is a push and a pull. So tell me why freaking Katara, and the first thing that she's doing waterbending, over here throwing hand signs, freaking wrists, doing moves that don't even correlate to waterbending. So like what? Also, what do they need fire for? Like you said before, they're waterbenders. Half the map is an ocean. Just use the water to take over the rest. Like like why? Like if you're gonna sit here and make one of the greatest cartoons and do an actual live action movie, understand the source material and know what you're making the movie about. Explain to me why it took your entire freaking budget for 3 regular freaking earthbenders to move one rock slowly across the screen. If you could make a rock move across the screen naturally for one person, don't make the movie. You literally had an ugly CGI rock slowly float across a screen with 3 earthbenders looking like they're from freaking Drumline in unison, dancing, doing not even an earthbending move. Like they're to move a rock. This is not the movie to make. Explain to me why Aang is Aang. Like,
oh man.
Like understand the source material. Why is it that Aang's forehead is bedazzled with an arrow? It's one light. There's no reason to sit here and put a chandelier on the kid's head. So what are you doing? Also, the scar on Zuko is supposed to be more visible. Why does it look like you put makeup over the scar? It doesn't even look like he has a scar in half the scene. His hair is just cut a little bit. Like what? Also, what is the airbending here? Is it just freaking Ip Man as a kid fighting? Like what is the airbending here?
Oh man.
Like what is this? Understand the
man. Tank just no, I can't now. Tank just reminded me of one detail that actually really annoyed me quite a bit.
Go on.
Did you see the firebender? Everybody saw the firebender, so at least
I saw the ugly trash firebending.
No, the firebenders, like when you saw Fire Lord, you saw
trash.
Zuko.
Yeah.
They didn't have the knot.
Nope.
They didn't have the knot.
They didn't have the royal knot.
Nope. They didn't.
Nobody understood. Like I don't.
Iroh had Jerry curls.
Like the knot was so.
That boy straight up had dreadlocks.
So for those of you that don't know, that knot is literally, the hairstyle is literally a symbol of the Fire Nation. That knot is supposed to be your flame. Like that's why everybody has it in Fire Nation, more or less.
And here's the cherry on the fucking shit cake, right? Is the fact that this dude M. Night Shyamalan, shut up, is over here ready to make 3 more freaking movies.
Boy, I know.
He had a sequel for the sequel lined up. He was ready. He had Toph ready to come in and move a rock slowly across the screen. Do you understand the riot that would happen if Toph came out shitty?
I would like to go beat his ass myself.
I left the movie. I left the theater. The moment I saw 3 earthbenders do a freaking unison stomp the yard dance to move one rock slowly across the screen, I threw my drink at the screen. I got ejected from the theater. I was not allowed to go back to that theater for the rest of the day. And honestly, good riddance. This was a pathetic I'm still on the fact that he made Appa and Momo demons. Why were they demons? Like, why?
Straight up nightmare.
The design of Appa was the ugliest thing I have ever seen. The only decent bending in this entire thing was Aang, because he was the only one that could freaking do it. That was it. Why did the Fire
Nation? I would even argue that his sucked, dude. He had to. He had like. You ever had like one of those? Y'all ever play like one of those games where it's like, you know, you're doing something, and you have to like mash the button to build a meter in order for anything to happen. That's what Aang had to do. That's what everyone had to do anytime they wanted to bend. They had to like freaking do this whole marching routine and like Tank said, stomp the yard routine before any bending happened at all. And it's like in the show, every movement linked to like something happened with every single movement. So like firebenders, if they, and honestly, I don't know if they just didn't get this. For some reason, the firebenders are not based in kung fu at all. Like that's what they are. They're based on like karate and things like that. They have forms.
Yeah.
But in the movie, no, everyone's a freaking ballerina. So, it is like they have to build up that meter in their body before they can move that CGI rock at 2 miles per hour across the screen.
They gave Iroh dreadlocks.
All right, move it on.
We gave Iroh dreadlocks.
We can harp on this movie all day.
Yeah, we can bash this movie all day.
This was 100. I know this because I remember this because I was so passionately angry. There was $150 million in this movie.
Oh,
that's
no.
a huge waste.
Burn it. It was all a waste. It was all a waste.
Okay, we can finally move that. But
why
actually,
why was Katara more annoying than Sokka?
Stop!
I didn't
he was
think
silent for so long, but then he talked. He was like, "The floodgates have opened."
I didn't think it was possible, but Katara was more annoying to listen to and watch than Sokka was. Honestly, I was glad that Sokka came on the screen because Aang was an emotional wreck. He was just a horror to watch.
Good Lord,
and
bro.
act.
No happy-go-luckiness at all.
Momo. That CGI demon on your shoulder is Momo. Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
Man.
I don't move on.
So,
just like this topic. Let's go on.
So actually, AJ brought up something kind of interesting. Let's talk about the bending in and of itself.
In the movie?
No, hell no.
No, he's talking about
like
bending, like in general.
Just in general, the bending. Like the bending is really special because it was actually rooted. Waterbending is Tai Chi. Waterbending is specifically Tai Chi. Airbending is Bagua. Firebending is Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. And Earthbending is Hungar Kung Fu. Except Toph, who is Southern Praying Mantis Kung Fu.
I did not know all that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that it had. I didn't know their names, but it was so. What it was easy to see is that all of the bending had forms.
Yeah,
like there
true.
There was proper. There was. I mean, just like in those practices, they typically have katas, which is things that they practice and they do repeatedly, and you see that. I mean, we first experienced it in that scroll, the waterbending scroll with for Katara that she ends up picking up, and it's like, I mean, that's what I thought was always the coolest thing. And then of course the firebenders. I mean, those are like your traditional kung fu moves, and then except for whenever they start getting fancy and start doing drop kicks to extend fire out of their feet, but start doing drop kicks Azula style. But
hell yeah, that hoe was landing on her feet too. How the fuck?
Right? She was doing a drop kick and then land on her feet. You're like, huh? What? But yeah, man. I mean, that was like the coolest part. I mean, because I'm sure I'm not the only one here who grew up watching kung fu movies.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, I watched
yeah,
them.
I know I'm not. So that was the coolest part. Was getting to see that stuff. I mean, like, pretty much a well animated. The bending was so cool, and the fights were awesome. I can't think of really one fight that included bending that I was like, "Yo, that was shitty." I can't think of one. I really can't. At least not in The Last Airbender. In Korra, I don't remember, but I can't say in the last Airbender there wasn't. Every single one was, and it never happened for no reason.
I don't think there were any bad fights in Korra.
I don't think so either, but that one's not as fresh in my head. But
I think that's something I give over Avatar is they really stuck to a lot of the kung fu and the tai chi and the what you were saying about what the forms were for bending.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they kind of abandoned that. Not completely abandoned, but it wasn't as much used in Korra as it was in Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
But it still didn't take away from the overall fights because they seemed to be a lot more intense. I'd say, they hit almost as hard, just as hard as the Avatar fight scenes. Because it like I just said, it seemed like they stopped using the forms of each bending, like the type of styles that they used for each bending. But it's more of just like boxing or kickboxing is kind of what they use there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The fight scenes seem to be just as good in Korra, if not better, than Avatar.
Well, I feel like in Avatar, in Last Airbender, I feel like from what I saw, they stuck purely to the one form, pretty much. Besides the few times that they adapted their form to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
But in Korra, it was constant adaptation. It was like you said, it was more like a mixed martial arts type thing. So they pretty much did what they needed to do for the moment. Like Kuvira, her fighting style is based off of an official martial art. I actually can't remember the name of it, but the way she moved was extremely reminiscent of a boxer. Like the way she was just dodging and weaving. She kept her guard tight. She kept her footwork great. She dodged, weaved, and made Korra look a fool. While Korra was out here swinging like the school bully, all these wide blows and stuff, and just really wasn't doing much, quite frankly. But then you could also see shades of the true forms of bending in characters like Tenzin. Like Tenzin had form. Like he was doing Aang's type stuff
because he was old school.
That's I did notice that in Korra, is that the masters had the forms, but like everyone under them, like, I mean, Korra was practically a kickboxer. Like,
definitely.
With the way that she was swinging, she was practically just a kickboxer.
I think that was on purpose. Honestly.
Yeah,
I think it was too. I think
it was on purpose. Wow.
Like the way they were now, you had to be quick, especially because of pro boxing and pro bending. I mean,
because what are people doing a lot nowadays? Boxing, some Brazilian jiu-jitsu,
ground fighting,
and right. But people mainly people are using boxing or kickboxing or Muay Thai, some form of Muay Thai.
Oh yeah.
You also got to realize that from the first season, from Avatar: The Last Airbender to Korra, it's also a whole new generation. In Last Airbender, it wasn't a lot of really, I guess you can say, cold fighters in their universe. I mean, you only had like a handful that can really just bend, on top of them being really good at fighting. So yeah, they only was going to stick to one style, versus when you go into the Legend of Korra, when the world went back to it being balanced for the most part, people start changing their ways, and then you have more civilization. Shit, you got airbenders again. So like, you have all this different like you said, adaptation and fighting. So yeah, everybody's style is going to be a little bit different, especially with the younger folks just trying to whoop somebody's ass for the most part. So yeah, they gonna be throwing some wide ass and crazy shit at them.
Yeah, and you can tell. Obviously, you could call it plot if you wanted to, but you could tell who had form and technique and who didn't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you looked at looking at Azir. Not Azir, what the frick is a league champ? Zahir. When you look at Zahir, he wasn't even born an airbender, but you could tell he studied by the way he was moving and using his airbending. But but you could also see the gross unrefinement of his style, because he didn't really bend like he knew what he was doing per se. He was just kind of like moving some air.
Because essentially he never did.
Yeah. He was literally just moving some air, but he wasn't necessarily air bending, you know what I'm saying? Like but then you get to somebody like Kuvira, who you could tell had form. Like when she took on a bunch of bandits by herself, she used minimal movement and took them down with extreme precision. Like, it was crazy. Anybody she went up against, she treated and beat them with extreme precision. She used every bit of arsenal that she had available to her. Like, she took almost no L's. Like, she took 1 L. And that wasn't really even an L. That was a tie with Korra. But she took no L's. And it was crazy. Like, I don't know if other villains have taken 0 L's. I mean, she did get arrested, but she didn't technically lose the fight to Korra, you know? So,
yeah.
But, the bending is super incredible. And I'll tell you one thing, though. I hate the fact that
There was a movie made.
Shut up. No, but what I'm saying is, with Korra, like you were saying, how everybody doing boxing and stuff like that, they brought chi blockers back. That, remember, they near the beginning of the first season, and they folded Mako and Korra like swiftly. Like they didn't get touched. That's how cold that was. And I wanted to see if they were going to integrate more bare hand-to-hand combat and then toss in some bending too. Because you saw a little bit of that with Zuko and Iroh, actually. And Last Airbender, there was a lot of times where the stuff they did, they weren't using their bending. But then when they needed to, they were throwing their bending, mixing it in. It was more of an extension rather than just straight up, I'm gonna throw some elements at you and hope you get hit.
That's what made Suki fighting Ty Lee so cool, was the fact that they weren't benders, but they were both good enough to take down most benders.
Like, I wanted
especially Ty Lee, she just came in and freaking assassinated your chi pass, man. She just came in, and you were like,
she was the Hyuga of the freaking Last Airbender.
She was folding them regular nonas. Definitely, easily. Actually, here's well, we probably all already know the answer to this, but which element do you think is the strongest?
Water.
What'd you say, AJ? Or Shadow?
What element do I think is the strongest? I actually think fire.
Alright, so take it, Raha. Why do you say water?
Bloodbending.
Yeah, I gotta give you that.
Absolutely. Like, honestly, if you said pick something else, I'd go air.
Facts.
Because you could literally just put an air bubble over somebody's head and take away their air.
But man, them airbenders them niggas is friendly.
Yeah,
but if they weren't, that's because if they weren't, then there would be no enemies.
Right. For
real,
right?
But just go ahead.
No, I was saying it's air, in my opinion, I think is one of the most versatile bending. Because air can smack away earth. Air can smack away fire. Strong enough gusts of wind can literally split any water attack in half.
Well, see, I don't see. I used to think air would, because of all the stuff like taking people's air away and stuff like that. I used to think air was fundamentally the strongest until I read some stuff in the Kyoshi books. Well, Kyoshi book. The next one doesn't come out until July, I think. But there was a master airbender who put up a mean ass hurricane to protect Kyoshi so she could get away, and the earthbender dude straight up shot a rock through it like it was a sharpened rock so it could pierce the rotation of the wind and just kill him. So I feel like air has a lot of versatility and a lot of utility, but I don't think it has the substance to continuously combat the other three elements, because you would have to be absurdly like you have to be like 10 times stronger in air than whoever else the other bender is in their element.
True.
It's true.
What you also gotta understand is that
Because like
good air. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna bring up like Boomy versus Aang. Like Boomy picked up that whole giant chunk of earth and was chunking it at Aang. Aang had to run around and build up that tornado first to get it strong enough to throw that back. So just how much quicker it is for the other elements to chunk something that powerful at, say, air. They have to build theirs up to get it that strong.
Right. I mean, can you say that the other elements can stop that just by putting up something that isn't built up? Like fire?
Fire's a weird case because they have lightning.
Yeah, and blue fire.
Well, there's only one character that can do that.
There's only one character with blue fire, which I don't understand why we never got an explanation for.
Facts.
I do not understand.
Yeah, they gave an
explanation,
but it was a half-ass.
That bitch cold.
They're pretty much.
That's like, no, for real. Like that was their explanation.
That's literally what it was.
Is the fact that she was so like she was such a master of fire bending, is that her fire was hotter than everybody else.
Bro, the first time she fought Katara, she was using 2 fingers slapping away her whips. Do you understand the amount of precision to just sit there? No bending. You saw no flick. She was just nope, get out of here, stop, stupid.
Yeah,
just like, what the fuck, bitch? Hello, why are you this cold?
She hit us with that Goku after he came back from yard rat.
Facts. Like, bro,
all I need is these 2 fingers. I mean, Goku's was only 1, but for Azula, these 2, this is it.
Like, if Azula wasn't a psychopath, I'm telling you, she would have been my favorite character.
I think she was a psychopath.
I know, but
if she wasn't,
she would have been my favorite character.
Because actually, her turning into a psychopath like that humanized her.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
because when we started, she was just
good.
Yeah, she was incredibly dangerous, OP. She was holding off the entire Avatar squad plus Zuko.
She had to have faults.
So that they exposed her with her mother, and finally humanized her and knocked her off her guard. And to me, that made her like, I was like, okay.
She's actually an interesting character.
This character caught on fire. No pun intended.
Oh yeah, I liked it, that aspect, but that would have been like, that's just for me. Like, if she wasn't a psychopath, she would have been my favorite character. But I understand that made it even better, just storyline wise. Like, that was mind blowing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The way she controlled lightning too, bro. Oh my god, she was.
She was about to shoot that fire.
When she was about to shoot that first bolt at Zuko, she was about to end London's whole career.
But that.
And then here comes Iroh. Be like, he grabbed her hand so fast.
You know, like, he didn't even redirect it. He said, "Give me the hand. Give me a hand. All right, this is going that way. Okay, you understand?" You know,
he literally became an extension of her hand. He was like, "Oh, yeah, that way."
He didn't. That's how, man. Iroh's cold,
bro.
This man, he said, "Oh, if you get shot by lightning, Zuko, let me tell you how to redirect it."
Bruh, he straight up hit her with the nope.
He didn't teach him how to grab it from the source.
The crazy thing about that whole incident, he was nowhere in sight. He was
so crazy.
He was still on
nowhere, bro.
He got that big stomach, and he's still moving faster than light.
He was still on the bridge,
bro.
He was still on the bridge, and the bridge was like at least a good, almost like 7 feet away from Zuko, and like he just. I was like, what?
I'm gonna put on the jets, bro. He was like, no, that's the thing, man. Iroh was never serious until there was a serious threat, and then it's like he snapped for a second. Then he's like, oh wait, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Hold on, guys.
In the North Pole. It was a South Pole. In the South Pole.
It was the South Pole when he said when he was talking to Commander Zhao.
Let it go, Zhao. Was it North?
Yeah, because
it was South Pole when old dude fought Zuko, and he tried to shoot Zuko in the back, and he popped once again. Boom! Popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, you're right. It was.
I was about to light him up. He said, "Whatever you do to that fish, I'll unleash on you tenfold. Let it go now."
Oh no, that one was the North Pole.
That was the North Pole. But they were talking about what's it called? Whenever Zhao tells Zuko to Agni Kai. Or it was the other way around. No, it was the other way around. But
Zuko folded his ass. As soon as Zuko is my favorite fighter, bro. He's gotta be. Like, he's the only ninja that be hitting you with the feet, bro. Like when he flipped up on his guard and knocked that ninja off, no bending, just a little bit, and just sweep that ninja. He said, "Loop." Oh, nigga, what's going? I'm gonna tell you what's good.
We also see him with fire whips.
Yeah, and the fire daggers that he never landed on anybody.
Nobody. He dropped that move the moment it failed.
I liked it when he was what was he when he was playing the blue mask dude?
The blue spirit.
Boy,
Zuko was cold with them dual swords, dude. Come on.
Zuko blue spirit form. Shoot, that was a whole nother person.
Zuko was a cold ass fighter, man. Come on, quit playing.
He was probably one of the only characters in Avatar who was like, bro, bending or no bending, you getting that ass whooped.
Facts. He smacked you up. He had all the
Aang had his staff, but that was usually just he bending, so
and flying
in some way, shape, or form.
And see, I still feel like firebending was a little bit underexplored. Still. Because when you saw the flashback with Roku and Sozin, when Sozin hit that steam control on the volcano and just channel that mud gun and shoot it out, I'm like, whoa, huh?
Oh yeah, I remember that when he did that. I was like, hold on, ain't nobody over here doing that.
That's a new move. Nobody did the little finger twirl to get the smoke out.
Like he is bending heat. He is literally bending heat. Let me find out y'all can do some bloodbending type shit.
I mean, in Korra, they explored, which I don't understand. I guess I kind of understand lava bending.
I get it. It is part of Earth.
Yeah. I know. It is just superheated rock, but they create the superheated rock.
That's crazy.
So is there fire in their Earth?
or maybe they could have also done it maybe just by friction, I guess. I don't know. You know, they had to start making adaptations somewhere.
Right? Metal bending made sense because you're bending the small pieces of earth inside the metal, but I don't know.
Well, if you think about it, on blood bending without the moon,
that's another thing.
I stopped caring. I already knew that nigga was doing blood bending from the first time he stopped power. I said, yeah, that's blood bending. I said, let me see how he doing it without the moon. That's what I really need to know. That's like that got to be bloodbending.
Oh, see, whenever Korra had came out, I had completely forgot about bloodbending. Because I mean, to be honest, we only got one episode with it.
Yeah, we did.
We only got one episode, and then Katara was like, "Nope, that technique is in the trash can. I don't feel good using it. I'm not going to use it." And so we never got to see it. I didn't remember about it until then. I was like, "What?" Yeah, I was one of those kids. I got caught by surprise.
Yeah, with that, I personally immediately dismissed it like they did in the show because there was no full moon. I was like, well, it can't be bloodbending because there's no full moon. So what's he doing?
Also, pulling water out of plants and just the air,
bro.
Man, nigga,
bro.
They have an unlimited supply.
Facts.
Well, I told you when they put that bit in jail, they had to air dry the whole cell.
But in order for you to breathe, there's got to be.
They made sure that you didn't have enough water to pull out the air.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
But that's how careful they were against these waterbenders, bro. Them just dangerous.
See, the only reason why I came to the conclusion of bloodbending was because during Avatar, when I watched it, like just the first time, I always wondered, like, why couldn't waterbenders just bloodbend? Like, I always was thought that was like, that should be like the first thing you learn is bloodbending, like, off rip. What? But I don't know why. I was weird. That was my first thought. See, and then I was like, oh, you can't bloodbend until the full moon or a certain full moon happens. I was like, oh.
So you get that full power.
I said, okay, that whole gonna come back.
If that was, I would understand bloodbending when there's a blood moon.
Mm-hmm.
Every once, like even more rare than a full, like.
Mm-hmm.
But homie said nah.
But bloodbending is a technique only. It's like it's pretty much like a Gekkei Genkai. Only like a few niggas can do that shit. Period. Like only a few.
No, I think people can do it, or they could learn it. It's just outlawed. Like the only two people who knew the technique at all in The Last Airbender were Hama and Katara.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come to Korra, and this dude Yakone is psychic bending an entire courtroom with some of the most powerful benders there. And remember, yeah, and you have to think about it like this: how strong is Yakone as just a straight up waterbender? How strong was he really? Because you remember back when Hama was controlling Katara was like, your technique ain't gonna work on me because I'm stronger than you. But Yakone was bending everybody without moving. He held Aang without moving. The Avatar, adult
in his
Aang.
prime.
Facts. No hands. I'm just chilling, and all y'all can't move.
That is crazy.
And Korra, and as a waterbender, Korra still smacked him. He had the bloodbend.
Like you.
That's crazy.
Like that dude was OP as hell, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They had to give Korra plot armor.
Bro, they didn't give Korra no kind of plot armor. She
took L's whenever
she had a helmet.
Man, Korra gotta be like the most humble, not the most humble, but the most humbled main protagonist that I have ever had the experience of watching.
Right.
Before. She took so many L's
and still got up and fought like she never lost.
Right? She took them like they was candy, dog. Like they was just handing them out. Buy one, get one free, dog. She was taking
big fact. She got put down.
But she did always come back. That was her deal, man.
I'll never forget that Kuvira fight that she had.
She got.
I was like, yo, if this ain't the definition of how Korra is, I don't know.
She got mad folded.
Kept getting hit, get back up, get hit back down, get back up.
Bro, that fight is the beginning and end of all Aang versus Korra arguments.
Yeah.
Aang basically fights exactly like Kuvira, if not a more mastered form. She ain't hitting that ninja.
Nah.
You saw what he did to that dude in school.
Overwhelm
He just
him.
dodged around him and said, "Ha ha 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 ha, stupid."
Oh,
That's
nasty. People
all
was
he
thinking
did.
Korra. People was thinking Korra could be Aang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because their mind is stuck in raw power. But
Oh, gotcha.
you know, Korra, even though she lost connection to the Avatar state, she's still pretty powerful. Like you can't deny that. She is a powerful, and I mean powerful Avatar.
Yeah, definitely a better bender.
Yeah, but Aang is powerful in his own right. Not as powerful, but still powerful. And he can, unlike Korra, can channel the powers of the bending of past avatars.
Mm-hmm.
But in a straight pre-avatar state fight, Korra's not hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
All Aang has done is finesse people like Korra. Straight attack, and all he does is jump to airbend, airball, swerve, bye.
Facts. We
I
ride
think
this
that just has to do with his form of bending when it goes to, like you said, again, technique. Just because airbenders are not necessarily fighters, because, like you said, if airbenders was just trying to kill people, it wouldn't be no enemies for the most part. But yeah, as a monk, as a air monk, they really was on more defense versus offense.
Right.
Taking away the wrath or the attack of the opponent and channeling it and giving it back to him. So that's, I mean, hell yeah. Someone like Korra, he gonna smooth folder.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand, is that they think Korra, just because she has more raw power, that she beats Aang.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong. She will get beat down until she has to go into the Avatar state, which she will inevitably do before Aang, because she's known to go into the Avatar state just doing easy basic stuff when she learned how to do so. You know, when she was in that little airball race, she Avatar state, and I win. Like she will easily do that. But Aang only uses Avatar state as a last resort.
Yeah.
So she's gonna tire way before he does.
Yeah.
But even in the midst of that argument, people still need to put some respect on Korra's name, though. Like people be saying Korra is just trash compared to Aang and what she did. Like she be steady taking L's, and it's like, look at who she fought.
Yeah,
she fought a bloodbender that could psychically bloodbend somebody who folded, basically the son of somebody who folded Aang, and had to do it with had to use the Avatar state to stop that dude, or else Aang was gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to deal with him. She had to deal with somebody who did something straight up never shown in the show before at all: the ability to straight up destroy somebody's spirit, becoming the Dark Avatar, literally slapping the past lives out of her.
That's crazy.
You had Zahir, who actually literally almost killed her.
Incredible villain.
Facts. Personally, the best villain of both avatars.
Honestly, Fire Lord Ozai was always this glooming evil, but we never really
he was like that dark cloud,
right?
Like the dark cloud in the sky. It was just like the one that's looming overhead, and then they got to him, and he was just that, a cloud.
That's the final boss.
Yep. He was your classic big bag at the end.
Right. Yeah.
But Zahir, he had reason for what he was doing.
Right.
But he's still gonna kill you.
His motives didn't seem unrealistic. He felt believable. He looked believable.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't seem just raw power, I want every die type deal. He wasn't that cliche of a villain. Like he to a point where you almost are rooting for him, because he kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. His whole vision was pure freedom.
Right?
And he
Even
believed.
the people he ran with was like, didn't really want to kill anybody. They just wanted to prove a point.
Like, he believed in chaos was the true freedom. Which is a pretty interesting concept to me when you think about it. It's like, you gotta destroy everything that controls the world, like the governments and the leaders, the symbols and stuff like that, which included the Avatar. So
Yeah.
and after that fight, she got put in a wheelchair. So
Which is tough, man.
like Korra, like you gotta put, like, people gotta put some respect on Korra's name, man. Like, Korra's not trash.
real.
She just went up against some hella strong people.
Yeah, honestly, and probably those same people, like if Aang went against him, like when he was the Avatar, he would have did more than just got folded. Like Korra would have been that probably Avatar would have moved to the Water Tribe a whole lot faster.
Probably.
Oh, no.
He
Actually-
probably would have slapped Kuvira.
Actually, I don't. Let me tell you why I don't think that would have been the case. Look at the groups. Look at who Korra had as backup, and look at who Aang had as backup. Aang had a top tier team, like a top tier team. You had
I
the
don't think
best.
Oh well, yeah, I was talking about mostly.
He was talking about
but
just
yeah,
the Avatar.
But I was talking about just Avatar. But yeah, as far as a squad, no, Aang's team is by far.
No, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Though. I think that attributes a lot to it too. Like Aang's team, Aang just had a better team than Korra did, so he was ready for more stuff and knew what to do. And then Korra was just unprepared, but that was also her fault. Like, it's her own fault, obviously.
If Aang had fought Zahir with Toph around,
Ooh.
ooh, a lot of these fights would have just been claps.
Would have turned into Toph just clapping everything.
Toph would have squashed the Dark Avatar before he even got to that powerful state.
Now,
Oh man!
now we can also. Now I will say this for sure. Let me go back and make this one clear. Had young Aang and his squad had to deal with Yakon, they'd be all dead.
Which one was? Oh, wait, which one was he called?
Which one was you calling again?
Amon's father in the first season, the one who stopped them when they were adults.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
So if their young forms had to deal with him, they would have died.
Yakon, that was the Dark Avatar,
No. Yakon
wasn't it?
Was the one who bloodbended
in the courtroom when they found him guilty.
Oh,
He psychic bloodbend everybody. If they had to deal with a ninja like him when they were young, they would have all died, guaranteed.
man.
Because they couldn't hold him when they were grown. So back then they did.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could say the same
Well,
thing for
I
Korra,
guess would his powers wouldn't be that escalated? Maybe.
Wait, what?
Maybe. I said his powers might not be that Well, okay. If we're talking about them being kids at that point in time and him being that old, then yeah. But
Yeah, that's
if
what
it
I'm
was
talking
like,
about.
oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. they
Even an
would've died.
escalated Aang, probably in his prime. I don't know that for a fact though. But yeah, he.
Oh,
Dangerous.
I mean, Aang stopped him, but well,
It was close. We're real close.
It was close. They definitely, if they were kids fighting, going up against Yakon, that he might have low key taken over the world. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Facts. That's an ass whooping waiting to happen.
Like Fire Lord who? Nah.
You talking about a whole new supervillain within that world, Aaron.
Let Ozai square up to your code. Nigga, what? Sit your ass down. I'll
Not
kill
no
you.
lightning will help you with this one, homeboy.
Boy, I'll put your leg behind your ear. Your other ear. But man, your code was a monster, bro. Serious monster.
Now, I always said this. I was thinking about this. Ty Lee May and what's Zuko's sister name?
Azula.
Yeah, I always felt that as a character, Azula always treated people bad who she felt she can whoop their ass.
Yeah.
Now, it came to May and Ty Lee. She didn't treat them that way. So
No,
I always felt like,
did.
Yeah, she did.
well, she did to a certain extent though. It wasn't like she always talked bad to people, but I felt like with them, it was more of them being nice to her. Like it was more like she gonna talk bad to him. That's how she is. That's just how her personality is. But I felt like she knew if she was to cross that bridge with them to a certain extent, I mean, she would have to pull some shit out her ass. Because I felt like Tylee and May I think they could hold their own for a certain extent. I don't think she would have just been folding them niggas like that.
Yeah. In order, if those two would have jumped Azula, they'd have to catch her off guard or something.
Have to.
Because they, especially Tylee, they first off May have died instantly. Lightning to the chest. Don't take too much. The hardest fight probably would have been Azula versus Tylee. No, but again, if Tylee doesn't have to jump on Azula's about as acrobatic.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, come on, drop kick, land on your feet, ninja.
Right.
Come on now.
Yeah.
No games being played here.
So
speaking of them, actually, sort of. So let's get to this little tidbit here. So I read something. I forgot where. I don't know if it was like a Reddit post or something on Facebook. They said for people to start watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, they said don't start at the beginning. They said start with episode 7 or 17. It's I'm pretty sure it's 7 of season 2, and the episode is called Zuko Alone. They said start by watching that episode, then watch the series.
Oh yeah, 7 is when he's I think it goes back into the past with the whole incident with the mom.
Tells us basically his past. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, no.
I still wouldn't do it, but I could see it.
I wouldn't do it either. If you're gonna watch something like, I mean, I can see why, but no.
I feel like you're missing way too much context.
Right. Like I feel like you need to watch that.
I understand why they can say that, because you go into it knowing a lot more of why Zuko is doing what he's doing. But I feel like that episode is a reward for us kind of sticking it out with Zuko. And then it's the whole fact of why is he on his own? Like, yeah. I think that, like, if you just start with that episode and then watch the series, you'd be like, I don't know, I'd be almost more confused.
All right.
Yeah.
I actually think that's something I actually really like about Avatar. I think the pacing is pretty good, and the way they tell the story is pretty good as well. I don't think I would change, because I was actually talking to Aaron about this back when I was like rewatching it, that every episode is meaningful in some way, shape, or form. There's always character development for one of the characters, at least one in every single episode, if not multiple characters. And then they don't waste time with giving you reasons of why there are places. Like I was talking to Turtle about this, and I was like, I didn't realize that you really just click on an episode and you just somewhere. There ain't no explanation for why you're there. You're just there, right, and dealing with what's going on there. Which, yeah, there's like, I don't think there was a single filler episode. And whenever they did the inevitable, I know, words are hard at this time of night, bro. But one thing that I did make sure that I wanted to talk about, I'm glad I just remembered about it, is the way they did the dreaded. And I know y'all, I mean, if you've ever watched a series, like, and kept up with it, like, you know, week by week, the dreaded recap day, where they have to where they do the full show recap. Even the way they did that episode was interesting because they retold the entire story, but one, it was told in an interesting way and trolling really, and then there was still character development between Aang and Katara in that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the Ember Island players.
Yeah, whenever they went to go see the play.
Yeah.
Let's call that what it was. It was a recap episode.
Yeah,
basically.
That's what it was. It was a recap episode, but they didn't do it in just here's what happened. You know, it was interesting. It was still entertainment.
And honestly, brought up what some people may have thought was going on, especially with Zuko and Katara.
Right.
Emotions are running high that day.
Yeah.
People didn't know Aang almost lost in more ways than one.
You know it.
And you know what? That goes more with the parallel of Zuko's personal adventures. Actually, when Zuko was with Azula, Ty Lee, and May, and then when he was with the Avatar Squad, because he went to Ember Island twice, and if you remember, the old ladies that tend to him.
Oh God!
They said something like, Ember Island has a way of bringing your true self out, or whatever.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about.
So like, it brought out information that was like, obviously that was the first time we saw Azula humanized. We could see a little bit of why she's such a, well, quite frankly, a bitch. But
a bad one at that.
we saw that. We saw Zuko just generally angry at everything, or himself rather.
I'm angry at myself.
Facts. And then we come to the Avatar side of things, and they're just watching themselves fail.
Right.
Just to see your own failures, just to see where you messed up, and it be more or less accurate. So it was
also changed the perspective, because they showed how it would be if Aang Fire Lord, and like the fact that they said that the Fire Lord is going to win, because it's quite frankly that they're in the Fire Nation. Mm-hmm. So it's like Aang has this big responsibility to take out the Fire Lord, but from their perspective, Aang is just a little girl trying to do grown-up things, and he's about to get folded the moment he sees the Fire Lord.
Yeah.
And so, it shows how serious that whole situation can be.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how that unfolds right there. But let's actually go to villains back one time. So we all know how cold Zahir was, but who was your favorite villain?
Zahir.
And the second one?
It doesn't matter.
Combustion Man.
I hate you.
Oh God, no.
Excuse me, his name is Sparky Boom Man.
Sparky Spark.
For some reason, I'm feeling that name doesn't quite fit.
Personally, I think my favorite villain, which he was kind of a villain for like 2 seconds, but he wasn't. I cannot remember his name, but it was that kid with the 2 swords.
Jet?
That was
Jet? Really? With the Cabal weapons from combat?
Yeah. Like even though it was a quick episode, that was one of my favorite ones in season 1 because it really pulled you away from like the cartoon aspect of it all and realized that other people was being affected by the Fire Nation and everybody took it differently.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
More of the episode.
That's deep.
I mean, that was a deep episode, though.
That was like,
it really was.
When him and Zuko
like
met up.
Almost any time Jet was on screen, it was actually a pretty deep moment.
There was animosity on sight.
Right. And the fact that what he took a different path versus what Aang and them did was kind of like, well, he was the villain for that episode, but him taking that path versus him just trying to save people really opened my eyes, and I was like, man, well, this was like just as a little kid too, I was like, man, he was really, I always liked Jet, but I was like, man, that's really crazy that he took that side of doing that versus actually just trying to help. He was like trying to kill. Well, he was killing, but he was like,
what you said, by any means necessary.
By any means necessary. Like, it didn't matter who was in the way. I was like, that's crazy.
Dude was a savage.
Yeah.
I like that episode.
It showed how other people besides Fire Nation can actually be villainous. You know, not only firebenders are this Kiba haired man.
Yeah, like that was one of the, I like the episode a lot.
It's good.
I think, well, I like Kuvira, I like Zahir a lot, obviously, he's cool, but I think I like Unalaq a little bit more. And that's the villain from season 2 of Korra, the one who became the Dark Avatar. Now, some of it I didn't F with, but I think as a villain, he was better. But I think he was also just written kind of wrong. Like his pacing.
Season 2 was written kind of wrong. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that, like the lead up.
The whole season needed to go. Honestly,
like if you could rewrite that season, then Unalaq would be perfect, because Unalaq was a force. Like, Unalaq honestly made me realize, well, obviously the season before it made me realize how powerful waterbending really was. But that season 2, when he's sitting there purifying spirits, he's not an avatar at all, remember that, but he's purifying spirits with waterbending and potentially destroying, I think it was Janora's soul with freaking waterbending. And like, what else could this fuck ass element do, dog? You already got bloodbending, you destroying souls now too? What the hell?
Facts.
You already draining plant life and air.
Like, this dude is doing all types of unknown shit. He almost folded Korra with one element in their full power spirit form.
Yeah. I mean, Korra got folded by one element a lot.
Yeah.
Shout out Kuvira.
I mean, Korra got folded by no element. Shout out to Chi Blockers.
Bro, Chi Blockers folded everybody. That was the real element.
I'm mad we never saw Chi Blockers again after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they'd be.
I think they were played out by the end of the first.
Yeah,
because you had like the only reason why Chi Blockers weren't played out in friggin' the Last Airbender was because, one, we didn't have a whole squad. There was only one person.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw what every single one of her fights where she got the jump on him. There was no fight. It was over.
8 trigrams.
64 palms. 2 palms. 4 palms. 8 palms.
Yeah, 16 palms. 32 palms.
It's like, yeah. So yeah, they were like, yeah, this Chi Blockers. I mean, it doesn't really call for a great fight. Either the fight is extended or it's over. So
yeah.
Either they get folded or the person they fighting gets folded. They're like, there's no real back and forth.
Well,
so
unless your opponent is Suki, of course.
Oh man.
But
but that's because it was two normal people fighting it out. So
normal.
It wasn't like Bender versus Chi Blocker, because Bender is going to be like, shoot, if I'm in there, I'm be like, bro, you ain't getting close to me. I just sent a whole tidal wave at your bitch ass. Like, like I ain't gonna worry about none of that.
Facts.
As far as the question goes, like favorite villain, honestly, I ain't gonna be real with y'all. I don't remember the villains of Korra that much, but as a kid, I was the most like scared during the first season.
Oh, that
was your what? Yeah, Amon. Like that dude put fear in my kid's soul, dog. I was like, bro, I don't know what's going on with that mask. But him and that red, that I was like, bro, don't even come near. Anytime, like, thing is, like, Amon, I think he was a great season 1 villain, because he just, like, anytime that dude was on screen, he just put the fear in you, like, straight up. Like, it didn't matter what he was doing. He could have just been talking, chilling. He was like, can you talk from a little bit further away? Like, can you call me on my cell phone or something? I don't want us in the same room. So, like,
nasty.
So, yeah, I think as far as like from the ones I remember, I think that was my favorite, just because of his presence on screen.
Yeah, that ninja did carry a mean ass air. Like, he was a very scary dude. Like, because even with a little bit of knowledge in me, when I saw that dude Amon, I was like, oh shit, there you go. When he called out Korra, I was like, oh shit, Korra finna die. I was like, I had once I saw Amon do what he could do, I was like, I have no faith in Korra. I'm sorry, you not winning. I was like, this bitch can't airbend, not even a lick. It's like, oh, you finna lose. You can't do the Avatar state. Boy, you trash right now. I was like, whoo, man. Amon, that's a scary ass ninja, bro. That's a scary ass ninja. Oh. But yeah, I think honestly, Hosei was probably the weakest villain.
It was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he was the, you know, it's like Tank said, man, he was the final boss at the end of the game, but then you really realize that everyone else was the final boss and he was the victory lap.
Facts.
Right?
Like, that's that extra boss you don't have to fight.
It was a looming evil. Like, you know, it was the build up to fight him. You know, it wasn't about him being so much as the big villain at the end. It was more of just like, is Aang strong enough to take on the big villain?
Yeah.
You knew he was there. You know, you always to face the Fire Lord, and never really saw the Fire Lord do anything that spectacular. We knew he was an asshole who burned his son. That's about it, really.
Yerp. Yerp. You know what? I just thought about something else. I said I was gonna do this in the topic. Shout outs to the boys Kyle and Tanner. So something was mentioned, and what was said was that in The Last Airbender, the story would have more or less played out the exact same way whether or not the main cast was older or as young as they were. Do you think that is true, or do you think that is false? And tell me why.
Wait. Yeah, I need a little bit of explanation. What do you mean whether they were older or younger?
So like we all know none of the Avatar group is over 15. Like, I think Zuko ends up 15 at the end. Sokka, Katara like 14, 13, Aang is 12.
Yeah.
But like the way the storyline played out, it would have been the same whether they were that age or if they were older. Like, even if they were like 20 something, the story would have still been the same, quote unquote.
So you're saying if they had met Aang and trained longer, or if they had met an older Aang with an older Katara, older Sokka, with an older Zuko and
let me see if I can rephrase it better. Let's take the beginning of the show. Aang is in the ice, but let's say like the main cast is actually instead of being in their teens, let's say they're like 20 something.
Okay.
But the story starts the exact same way. Do you think it would have played out?
It started the exact same time?
Yeah. Like they're in that.
First off, so
Aang is still 12.
No, no. Aang is like 20 something.
Right. But everything starts at the exact same time after that, right?
Yes.
Katara and Sokka would have died. They would not have been there. They would have died by the Fire Nation.
Nasty.
If Zuko said there wouldn't even have been a show,
right? if Toph was old, first off, Toph would have been literally the same. Well, maybe if they were older and the events played out the exact same, Toph. Nah, she's still been doing the same thing. If not,
well, like I wouldn't say like the statement in question amounted more to. Let me say it another way. Let me see if I can say it another way. Does their age matter?
If the events are the exact same, then yes. If the events happen at the exact same time after Aang freezes himself in the butt, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Because the Fire Nation would have amounted enough power to take down Ba Sing Se. They couldn't take down Ba Sing Se before because Ba Sing Se was like a powerhouse of a freaking location or of a.
No, wait. Like so the events, we'll say, basically make the events of the show happen 10 years, like skip it 10 years, like say all that's happening 10 years later, and these guys have more years under their belt as just like in age wise.
Okay. No,
so like would their decisions probably stay the same or stuff like that?
Yeah. Stay the same, honestly.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just think on a maturity level, not Aang, but dang, what's those two names?
Sokka, Katara.
Yeah, Sokka, Katara's maturity would be on a different level than Aang. Aang will, well, I guess since he'll be 20, their decisions, their maturity will be different. So he wouldn't be much of, I guess you could say, of a crybaby at the beginning. He might be just more mature in his decisions versus how he was when he was a kid.
I don't know. I think it'd literally be the same. The reason they grow is because around each other and they can bounce ideas off each other. Like even we see them older and none of them change. Like Sokka's still making dumb jokes. Like the only person that really changes is Aang, but that's after all of the events. Aang doesn't really know to be his own person until he beats, Sokka and Katara, and he learns other elements, and and how Toph tells him to stop, freaking wussing out on everything. There's no trick around this type of stuff. You got to go through it to Earthbend. Go through it. like I don't feel like they change. I feel like they kind of be the same. Zuko would be the same. Iroh would just be older. So.
Cause I kind of agree with what Tanner had said, cause he said their age explains the way they make decisions. Yeah. Because like some of the stuff Aang did wouldn't have made sense for him to do if he was older. Like him freezing himself in ice, I don't understand why you would do that if you were like 20 something. But as a 12-year-old kid finding out you're the Avatar early because of an impending doom, like that pressure's on you when you're a kid. You're not going to want to handle that. Right. But as an older guy, you most likely aren't going to go through that.
Yeah, but you also gotta understand that just because age is older doesn't mean you change it. It's more of your experiences than that changes your overall attitude and personality. Aang, just because his overall age is old, react to things differently. He'd have to experience things differently, like as far as like how he would, how him and say Katara would act around each other. Like his decisions wouldn't change because of his number; it would change because of his personal experiences. Like if you put a person in a dark room at age 1, and then you feed them, do whatever, and then take them out 20 years later, they're still gonna act like a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
They just don't know that it's their experiences and how they were in that situation is going to determine how they are later on and how their personality is. So I don't know. I think they'd be the same.
What you think, Shadow?
See, yeah, the reason why I was kind of quiet is because the way that I interpret that question is a lot different, and it has to do with the way that I just view the show overall. So, I mean, I understand like how you're asking the question, and like kind of what you were going for, but like whenever you ask that question, the only thing I can think of is that the story itself wouldn't make sense. And the reason why it wouldn't make sense is because I view The Last Airbender as a coming of age story. That's essentially what it is, in my opinion. Like the entire show is just a big coming of age story. Like, I mean, you could think about take whatever character you want, especially from the main cast. They start out as a little kid who don't know shit, and kind of thinks that they got the world figured out, and then one after another, they just get blow after blow after blow of, nah, bro, this is what the real world's like, and you gotta handle that shit. And then until you get to the end, which is, I mean, Fire Lord Ozai, and that's that last big push before they reach adulthood. Like that's once they overcome that obstacle. So that's why I think if they were older, it would make sense, because they would have already been of age. Like it just would have been another story. But since they are younger, I think that actually makes the story what it is. But that's
I mean, I agree with that. Now, if you would have asked the question, if they had the knowledge they knew at the end of the show to when they first started, that'd be an interesting story. Because they knew, maybe it'd play out the same, but maybe like if you put them at the beginning, like Aang darts, like the moment he at the beginning of the story, before he even goes into the avatar state and literally hides for 100 years, he knows already, like, Fire Lord Ozai, his Toph, his teacher, all the war that's coming up. Like he's unaware of this going on when he's a kid. But if you give him that information, maybe he might just, I don't know, he might take things more seriously. Maybe he knows, like, if I can't wait 100 years to do all of this, but then I don't meet Katara or Sokka or my friends, I might need to take care of this now. A lot of innocent lives were lost because I wanted to go hide for 100 years. So maybe that would have played out different. But I don't know. I don't know.
That's kind of interesting. I don't know. That sounds strange as hell, but
yeah,
it does.
It would have been a completely different story.
Yeah. Honestly. I don't know if I would have liked it like that personally.
It wouldn't have been The Last Airbender, because he wouldn't be The Last Airbender.
It wouldn't have been.
Start
as
with
I
that.
said, story would have completely changed. It just would have been different.
Been Avatar, the many Airbenders.
It was an Avatar, the Airbender.
Avatar, the Airbender. Ain't nothing special about him. It was just his turn in the cycle.
Aang bends air. That's cool. Okay, we done.
Out of
Next
the Airbenders, you see, he's the Avatar.
He looks like everybody else.
Yep.
Just a double old kid who turns out to be able to will 4 elements. Now, so this next one's probably gonna be kind of hardish to answer, but who is y'all's favorite Avatar?
I don't know, man. We only get to know.
I like Roku.
Because there's the like even you don't have to like him like full. Even just conceptually, who might be your favorite Avatar?
Honestly,
Because we know of 5 different avatars. There are only 5 avatars that are quote unquote really explored, and that's Avatar Yang Chen, the air avatar before Aang. There's Kuruk, the water one before Aang. There's Roku. There's Aang himself. There's Korra, and there's Avatar 1, the very first Avatar
as well.
Oh yeah, I did forgive Kyoshi. I don't know how I could forgive Kyoshi. Best for last. What?
I should have been more specific. I said the Earth one.
Yeah.
He did say the Earth one, didn't you?
I said the Earth one. I should have been more specific.
I got the book right on my daggone computer. What the hell?
I'm still going Aang. Just because he did shit different than the rest of the avatars. If it was the rest of the avatars' decision, if he handled certain situations like they did, it would just recycled more war, you know? I've said this before, he is the Martin of
He's the what?
He's the Martin Luther King. He is the Martin Luther King of Avatar.
Nasty.
He brought the nations together. He said, we shouldn't solve things using violence. All peace. If you have issues, questions, comments, or concerns, we can talk about it. No physical action. We are all equal.
What about Raha? Okay.
Probably Korra.
Why Korra?
Maybe. Yeah.
Got it.
Dang. I feel that.
Well, there you go.
Because I said so, and it is now.
That's about it, really.
Shadow. Korra got it next.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she's right there, dog. So, yeah, Korra again, just because, but more because of her character dynamic. If I didn't pick Korra, it would actually be Kyoshi. I think I just have a thing for strong female characters who may be able to whoop my ass. But we're going to leave that by the wayside.
Man, I almost get AJ.
What? So, I mean, you just have to know what my other characters that I like in other games to understand that statement.
You like Ken, so you like Scrubs.
Shut up. Shut your dumb ass up. But, nah, I like Korra just because, man, she would just throw hands on sight. Like,
she really was.
And Kyoshi was the same way. Kyoshi was straight up like, whatever Aang called on Kyoshi, she was like, he was like, oh, well, didn't technically dude kill himself? She was like, don't get it twisted. I was gonna whoop that nigga ass.
Kyoshi is raw.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, she's that nigga. She was like, I was gonna whoop his ass. Luckily, but he did it to himself before I got to him. He got lucky. He was spared.
Like in that same note, Kyoshi is my favorite avatar, like above all. Maybe it's because of this daggone book, but Kyoshi is such an interesting avatar. Like she went through a lot of crap, like a lot of crap. Like her family was like circus freak. Well, not circus freaks, but they were part of this group called the Flying Opera Company, which is it sounds weird as hell.
That's my mixtape name.
Shut up. You're gonna say something stupid.
Oh no.
Like, Jesus. But she that's where she got her uniform, her gloves, her fans, all came from her mother. The face paint came from her mother. That's what they did. All of the members of the Flying Opera Company actually put on that face paint before they went to do a mission. And they was all cold, but I don't know how true it is, but I feel like Kyoshi had absolutely mastered the Avatar state. Like, I feel like she had complete and utter control over it more than anybody else, because in the book it talks about how when she wanted to like flex her power, and you can see it in the flashback episode with the Emperor where he accidentally died.
The pyramid thing or the things.
Yeah, but like you notice the difference between when she used the Avatar state and everybody else. Their eyes stayed glowing. Hers flashed.
Aang's did too.
Aang usually stayed glowing.
At the end of the Fire Lord thing, his eyes glowed and his arrow glowed. They stopped glowing, and then he made water come up on land and wash all of the fire away.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he gets pissed off, they stay glowing.
Well, we know where he got that from. He got it from good old Kyoshi.
Yeah.
She clean. But she had great master. Whenever she did it, she like showed like she was literally the king of whatever element came out, and like she got some neat tech too. She's cool. I like her. I like Kyoshi a lot. She's actually the Avatar, and she created the Dai Li.
True.
Which is a big bonus. She also squared up to the Earth King back in the day. That was fire too. Talking about, man, you fuck with the Avatar, I'll beat your ass. Like, she throws some hands quick, real quick.
Facts.
Well, I think it's about time we gon' wrap this up then.
How long has it been?
A couple hours.
Nasty.
Yeah, good couple of hours. Well, I think it's a decent time for a talk like this, I guess.
Yeah, there was a lot to cover. I felt we covered quite a bit plus some. So
yeah, we got Tank to bring out his rage on Shamalama Ding Dong.
I know I wasn't the only one who raged this time. Yes. Because I kind of got clapped on for raging on the last one.
Did you get clapped on?
A little bit. It's a couple people came at me. They were like, "Yeah, man, you kind of saw red on some of those topics, didn't you?" I'm like, "Shut up." Fighting game close to my heart. You can't mess with me like that.
Man, Clash of Ninja.
Hey yo.
That's what they came with that young man for, bro. But alright. I thank any and all people who tuned in to listen and watch our little Discord bubbles glow green and whatnot. So shout outs to you guys. Again, if you've got any particular topics you'd like us to get some conversation on or talk about, please let us know in the comments below. And that like button, please hit that like button. Please punch that subscribe button, man. Waterbend that
motherfucker's ass.
Facts. Beat it up.
Whoop it like Korra does, or Korra did, whichever
I'm
one.
gonna need you to throw that like button them good hand.
Oh yeah, hit it with the guy.
Hit it with the left, and if if that don't work, hit it with the right. Hit it with both of them, man.
Yeah, you got a left sword, don't you? Zuko jokes. Just don't leave a scar. No, actually, don't leave a scar, because that means you broke your monitor and then you have an issue, and you can't blame me for it. But if we have no last words from my technicians,
hey man, I just want everybody out here to understand and petition. Never allow M. Night Shyamalan to make Avatar: The Last Airbender or anything cartoon related ever again. Also,
Nasty Tank.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like his show.
I don't really care what they like. To be honest.
I'm not mad at you.
You make tell this man if he makes another pathetic excuse for a movie like that Avatar again, I will find you. And I will write a mean email because I can't physically do anything to you.
I will write the strongest worded email in history.
You will get the most fiercest capitalized letters. And that's a promise.
Write the words up. Put the words up, hubby.
And I know the world is on fire right now. Got a lot of people with opinions and who want to listen. Live healthy.
Facts.
Stay about your business. And love thy neighbor. You know, one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard was, everybody's just trying to do their best in a world that's far too easy to do your worst. So just do your best. Because it's too easy to give up.
Yep. Big facts. Don't give in to them distractions, you know what I'm saying? There are a lot of distractions going on. There's a song, and one of the quote he said this was the point he wanted you to get out of it. He said, when you avoid the battle you are born for, you face a battle that you are not equipped for. I hate you. What the fuck? Goddamn slam poetry. Alright, y'all. We hope you come see us again. If nothing else, bye.